Welcome everyone to especially the new learners who have joined us today. Welcome to Hada Institute of Education. My name is Cheyenne. I'll be your trainer and assessor for this course. I have experience in community services, in government as well. I work with youth justice in New South Wales, and I've been for 16 years and currently one of the managers in one of the youth justice centres. Um, I'm I had a lot of experience in the mental health sector as well, especially working closely with psychologists, counselors, support workers as well in therapeutic youth care. Um, I'm genuinely passionate about helping you guys grow your knowledge and also your skills, practical skills, and try to make a difference in that area. So whether you're studying online for reasons like flexibility, career progression, or just personal development, I think you're in the right place. So we're happy to support you guys throughout your learning journey. Um, so yeah, welcome. So now this induction, we usually go through this induction during the first session of every unit, because this is when all the new students who have enrolled start their journey, is during the first week of the unit on our calendar. So now this induction, I hope, will introduce you to most things that you need to know about studying with Hader. Obviously not everything, but we'll try to cover most areas, including how your online learning works, where to find resources, and what support systems are available to you. All right, let's get started. So before I start, I just want to show recognition for the traditional owners of the land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, Hayter Institute of Education acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connection to land, sea, and community. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of the nation and the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, live, and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land and our sorrows for the personal, spiritual, cultural cost of that sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. We pay our respects to all First Nations people and acknowledge elders past, present, and emerging. Okay, so before we continue with our unit, I just want to go through some housekeeping items to help things run more smoothly in our virtual setting. So when it comes to classroom participation, I value your input, and there'll be opportunity for all of you guys to answer questions, ask questions as well. So please use the Zoom reaction button if you like to contribute or ask any questions. But otherwise, please keep your microphone muted to avoid any background noise while I'm speaking or while others are speaking during our session. And also try to keep your camera on during the whole session as well. That's so I just know that you guys are here interacting and ready to answer any questions. We understand you guys are all juggling busy lives. You got your parents, your full-time workers, your carers, and other commitments. But to get the most out of your learning, we ask that you show up and ready to participate during our classes. Please be seated at a desk or table as well, and treat the space like a professional environment if you can. Classroom break time. So obviously we start at 6 o'clock. We try to break around 7 to 7:20, probably about 5 to 10 minutes, and another break probably towards 8 o'clock. But sometimes that doesn't happen. It just depends on the content that we're covering and just the flow of the class. If you guys are, in the middle of doing a task, and I'll just let it keep going as long as you guys are happy to continue. Same as for virtual classes, please no smoking or vaping on camera. Some of the topics we cover will be confronting, maybe confronting for some of you, especially if you have lived experience. Please feel free to take a break and access support services if anything becomes distressing. You can also reach out to me via email as well. Then there's a lot of reputable companies you can reach out to as well if you need support and you don't want to go through hater. I want make sure you all maintain professional boundaries, keep personal disclosures to a minimum, and treat each other with kindness and compassion. Just want you guys to remember that we're here. You guys are here trying to gain your qualifications in mental health, Cert 4, and that's our goal to make sure you guys get qualified. Um, and to do that, we need to all keep it professional and a lot of us are going to have different opinions, so just respect each other's opinions and yeah, let's have the most productive session we possibly can. Finally, your well-being matters, like I mentioned as before. Make sure you take time for activities that nurture you so you can show up to class refreshed and ready to learn. Self-care is very important, and self-care is a big part of this unit as well. We'll touch on that a lot throughout most units. So, yeah, so any questions so far, guys, for the new learners who have joined us today? All good. All right. All right. So at Haddon Institute, the philosophy here is that we promote obviously adult learning principles, and we do that by we try to create a supportive environment for all learners. So we do that obviously by providing class time during the week, every week, 3 hours a week, or 2 to 3 hours a week. You also have access to one-on-one support with your trainer once a month for an hour. If you need extra support, you can reach out to me or LSO and ask for extra support, and a trainer will get in touch with you. Um, I can also help you out, guys out if you don't have time to do role plays in your own time. You can reach out to me as well, and I can also spare time to do some role play assessments with you guys as well. We encourage self-directed learning. So this means you guys need to take the initiative in your own learning process, attempting assessments independently and making use of 3 attempts to improve through feedback. But again, like I mentioned, through all inductions, don't worry about the 3 attempts. If you need more attempts, you will get them. So don't stress about that. We base our approach on adult learning theory. So adults are naturally motivated and self-directed, so which we believe you guys will bring your own life experience and knowledge into the classroom, which adds a lot of value to our discussions and learning. Our content is relevancy and goal-oriented, so meaning we focus on practical knowledge that connect to your career and also your own personal goals. Okay, assessments. Now, I'll be going for assessments a lot through all sessions, but just briefly, all learners are expected to actively participate in every part of the course. This includes attending classes live. You don't get docked assessment points or anything like that if you don't attend classes. We just recommend that you guys do because it is in your benefit to cover the course content for this unit. And also during our classes, we have the opportunity to complete assessments during our classes as well. Um, it's important that you have to complete all written assessments and role plays to complete the certificate. To be eligible for work placement, you must complete all tasks in all units and reach the 50% completion mark. Then this will trigger a planning process for your placement. So then LSO will contact you guys once you complete 50% and will give you the opportunity to start your work placement. If they don't contact you when you've completed 50%, simply just give them a call and let them know that you've completed 50% and then they'll get you connected with Skill Track and from there you'll get connected to an organization to complete your work placement. Obviously, if you're working in the industry and you have experience or you're currently working, you obviously can use that as evidence as well. But that's all things that you will discuss with LSO. All right. Um, Again, there's various ways that we do assessments. We have written tasks, role plays, quizzes, group discussions, and presentations or present assessments that require presentations. And these are all uploaded and completed through your portal, your learner portal. So again, attendance matters, not because it's going to go a long way in in marking. It's just for your own benefit. So if you've got any questions to ask about the content, you got the trainer there to ask. Again, we have a lot of opportunity. We'll give you guys a lot of opportunity during classes to complete your assessments, especially your role play assessments. Extensions are possible, but must be requested early. So if you require an extension, call LSO and they will work with you guys to get that extension. You'll get your results and feedback within a set time frame. We do aim for 24 hours, but can be hard, especially the fact that we have a lot of learners in Haida, and that's usually between 24 to 72 hours. Always save your work. Don't risk losing your progress. So if you're doing work through the portal, make sure you save it if you haven't completed it. And then you can go back in and complete and then submit. Plan ahead and pace yourself during the qualification. So what that means, what I mean by that is try to complete all the assessments and tasks during the period that we are covering the unit. So for this unit, CHCCCS019, we have 3 weeks. We're covering this unit over 3 weeks. There's 4 assessments that need to be completed. I recommend that you guys try to complete all them assessments during this 3 weeks so you're not playing catch up towards the end of your qualification. There's a lot of learners who leave assessments like role plays right to the end, and you know, you'll end up with 30 to 40 role plays to complete at the end, and that will take another 6 months to complete. So it's highly recommended that you stay on top of your assessments and try to get them done in the time frame that we cover the units. Obviously, again, all submissions go through Accelerate, your learner portal. Okay, I went through all that. All right, just with role plays. Actually, I'm going to cover role plays a bit more. All right, so if you prefer, if you need any more student support or anything like that, guys, anything to do with Hater, please contact LSO. That's the email address down the bottom. They'll reach out to you guys as soon as they are available. They're pretty quick. Most of the time, sometimes they're quite busy and they might miss you for a day, but they will get back to you as soon as possible. Again, you can always reach out to me as well. Hey, any questions, guys? So yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, hello. Just in terms of extensions, so for the first few weeks that I was here, I didn't do any role plays. Obviously, I'm going to have to get back to those at some point in the future. Do you need me to put in an extension request regards that?
You don't need to. You can if you think that you're gonna fall short at the end of your time frame. But you can complete the assessments anytime you want. You don't have to complete it during the time during the time we're covering the units. You can complete them assessments 6 months from now. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you do need time in the end and you feel that you are going to require some more time, and then I would reach out to LSO, but I will just wait for now, Daniel, and just see how you go and see if you can catch up on them assessments later on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was also going to thank you for changing the format on the previous lesson because that was good. I was able to sort of engage for the
Yeah.
first time. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. So I'll probably do that again for this unit, not for all role plays. But yeah, I can see. I'm presuming you got work during the day. But if you got time and you want to do a role play with just me and you, just send me an email, Daniel, and then we'll organize a time.
Thank you.
That's all good. Alexandra,
I'm new at this. What is your
welcome.
email if I was to email you?
Yeah, my email. I'll just move my head. It's right on the top there on the screen. Can you see that?
Yeah.
The top one there. Yeah, Cheyenne at Hader.
So K is it Kayan?
It's pronounced Cheyenne. Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
that's okay.
Um, I got it. Thank you.
Oh, good. So you know what I'll do? I'll type it. I should type it. I apologize for that. I'll type it on the chat so everyone else can copy and paste that if they can. If you don't have it, Giant Hater Institute at edu.
I
Okay.
thought you were joking, son.
No. I typed it up there, but my head's too big. I'll move that up. There you go. That's better. All right. Okay, let's get started. All right, which brings us to our unit that we are covering over 3 weeks. So it's called Recognize and Respond to Crisis Situations. The code number is CHCCCS019. Again, welcome to everyone, especially the new learners out there, and of course our regulars as well. Thanks for joining in today, guys. So this unit, like all our units, is a very important aspect of working in the mental health field, as it equips you with the knowledge and skills to identify and effectively respond to crisis situations in a professional, calm, and supportive manner. Or, yeah, yeah. So, as community workers, as mental health practitioners or support workers, we often find ourselves in situations where individuals may be experiencing heightened emotions, distress, or immediate threat to their safety. Now, this course or this unit will help you develop practical strategies to assess these situations, provide the appropriate responses, and de-escalate crisis while maintaining the safety and dignity of everyone involved. Now, throughout this unit, we cover during our classes in the learning material that you will find in the portal and in our assessments the following. So the definition and types of crisis you may encounter in your role, recognizing signs of crisis and early intervention strategies, tools for de-escalation and managing difficult behaviors, ensuring self-care and understanding our professional boundaries during and after crisis. So by the end of this course or this unit, you'll have a better understanding of how to identify potential crisis situations quickly, respond confidently and appropriately to them situations, or have a better understanding on how to do so, and also supporting or having knowledge about how to support individuals in their time of need while ensuring the safety of yourself and other people. Okay. All right. So again, this unit is a fundamental part of your training and will help build on the knowledge that you already have, awareness and practical skills needed to respond effectively and also professionally when someone experiences a crisis situation. So now let's begin by walking through the key topics that we'll cover or what's this week's all about. So what this unit's all about. So you'll see them displayed on the screen there, and each one represents a crucial area of learning that connects to real world practice in the mental health field. Now, we start with an understanding of what a crisis actually is. So we'll look into the different types of crisis that individuals may face, from things like emotional breakdowns and trauma, to immediate threats like self-harm, suicide, or violence. You'll learn to recognize both the obvious and the subtle signs that someone is in crisis, and how crisis can look different depending on the person and their circumstance. Then we shift into legal and ethical responsibilities, which is very important when it comes to mental health. This is where your professional accountability really comes into play. We'll talk about your duty of care, what it means to protect other people from danger or harm, and how to balance privacy and confidentiality with the need to take action. We'll also explore work role boundaries, mandatory reporting obligations, and the importance of aligning your actions with organizational policies and sector code of conduct. Next, we'll go look into the principles of crisis intervention and safety planning, or you guys will during this 3 weeks as well. Obviously, guys, we do our live classes, so I'll try to cover as much as I can, but like all adult learning platforms or classes, it's impossible to cover all content. So the onus on you guys to also read up on your learning guides, do your own research, and ask questions if you feel that something hasn't been covered as well. So if you need any questions if you've got any questions, please ask. All right, so yep, crisis, we'll cover that, and then we'll look at the practical aspects of responding to them situations. Again, this will include the steps that you will take when responding to, for example, if someone is suicidal, when violence is threatened, or when a person is overwhelmed and shutting down. We will also touch on referrals, or the referral process, critical incident procedures, and how to involve emergency services when required. These are real situations that workers face every day, and so it is very important that you guys feel very confident and equipped in them situations. Finally, during the time we cover this unit, we'll be talking about something that's often overlooked but absolutely vital, which is the importance of self-care for practitioners, community service workers, and mental health sector workers. Supporting people in crisis can be very emotionally intense, as many of you guys would know already. Without proper support and strategies, it's very easy to experience burnout or secondary trauma. So we're going to remind ourselves during this time, or during this unit, on ways that we can care for your own well-being, try to build resilience, and stay emotionally grounded in this line of work. So throughout our journey in this unit, I'll be asking you guys to reflect on real life case studies, share your perspectives, answer the questions that I ask as well if you can, and participate in group discussions as well time to time. I'll also be posing, like I said, questions for you guys as well, just to get you guys involved, and also this will help reinforce your learning and encourage critical thinking, which is a very important part when it comes to mental health. Remember, this isn't just about ticking off a unit; it's about preparing you for the reality of supporting people during some of the most difficult moments of their lives. All right. So let's go into the first topic, which is what is crisis? So in the context of mental health and support work, a crisis is more than just a bad day or a difficult moment or situation. A crisis is a situation that overwhelms an individual's normal ability to cope with a certain situation. It disrupts their routine functioning, and often requires urgent support or intervention. As you can see on the slide, that a crisis isn't always about a single event. It can be triggered by many different factors. There are some common triggers that include natural disasters like floods or bushfires, relationship breakdowns such as divorce or separations, serious health issues, the death of loved ones, or even losing a job or housing. What's important to understand is that these events don't impact everyone the same way. It affects everyone differently. Two people can experience the same situation and one might be okay while the other enters a state of crisis. That's because a crisis is based on the individual's perception of the situation, their resilience, their availability for support networks, and of course, their current mental health situation and emotional state. Um, and the impacts. So a crisis can cause things like emotional distress, such as overwhelming sadness, anxiety, panic, or things like helplessness. It can lead to psychological impacts. For example, someone may stop thinking clearly, withdraw from other people, loved ones and friends, or lose their sense of safety. And there are often physical symptoms also, like loss of appetite, fatigue, insomnia, or headaches. Now, as mental health support workers or mental health practitioners, your role is not to fix the crisis, it's to recognize when someone is in distress and provide an appropriate response. Of course, staying in the scope of your role. Sometimes this might mean simply being present and listening. Other times it might involve linking the person to support services or even calling emergency services if they are a risk to themselves or other people. Okay, let me just check this chat one sec. Okay, all good. All right, types of crisis situations. All right, I'll start by asking you guys a question. Can you guys name any type of crisis situation and how you might respond, or do you have any experiences of a crisis situation and how did you respond to that? Okay. I'll start by giving an example. So I will obviously work in, like I mentioned, in a youth justice facility, and suicide or potential suicide attempts is common, unfortunately. There was a young person who began, one of our interactions was talking about feeling hopeless, saying things like, he doesn't want to be here anymore, and starts giving away their personal items as well. He was. Now, these were immediate red flags for me for suicide risk. So my response was to stay calm, obviously, ask them directly, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Have you had any thoughts of self-harm? And then from there, I was listening without any judgment and obviously trying to reassure the young person that they are not alone, and then I'm here to help them, and other help is always available. I did not leave the young person alone during that time. Thankfully, we've got a lot of strategies and avenues that we can implement in youth justice facilities. So I took them, so I put him on additional checks, put him in the camera room, referred him to the psychologist, stayed with him until I got a one-on-one staff member to supervise him in the meantime. Got the psychologist involved. They got him some items to help him alleviate stress, like stress balls and other things that he requires, and made other referrals that he requested as well. Another example I can give is around domestic and family violence. So in a situation like this, you might be supporting a client who tells you that their partner controls where they go, who they talk to, and they might have made recent threats towards that person. Um, the person you're working with might play the situation or feel ashamed, but you would know from your training or your experience that this is a domestic violence situation. Now, I wouldn't tell them what to do. Obviously, that can be disempowering. We want to empower our clients. We want to empower the people that we work with. I would calmly explore other options, whether they to make them feel safe and what supports they might require. I would offer information about support services like 1-800-RESPECT or local refuges and ask if they'd like help in connecting with someone. All right. Now, let's now go through this a little bit more where when it comes to defining or the types of crisis situations, um, which you will come across in your work, especially if you work in the community service sector or in the mental health sector. This is a very important part of being able to recognize when someone is in danger or needs your help. And knowing how to respond uh, appropriately within the limits of your role is very important. So the first group of crisis includes situations like suicidal ideations, self-harming behaviors, and threats of harm towards others. These are high risk, often urgent scenarios, like the one I gave you. But other examples could be someone may say that they, want, like the example I gave, someone might want to end their life or harm someone else. They may not say it directly to you, but their behaviors, their mood or language might suggest to you that something is not right. So in these cases, your response needs to be clear, calm, and supportive. The priority, again, is safety, both for the individual and other people that is around. Next, we have would be things like receiving threats, abuse, or domestic or family violence. Now, in these situations, it can be very complex and emotionally charged. You might encounter a client who is afraid of their partner, a family member, or even someone within their shared accommodation. So in many cases, the individual might not immediately identify themselves as being in a bad situation or they require help. They may be afraid, again, ashamed, like the example I gave previously, or unsure or what to do in that situation. So your role here is to listen carefully and also show respect while you're listening and respect their experience. Validate their experience. Summarize what they're saying, acknowledge what they've said, and support them in identifying safe options. Now, recognizing safety issues is important, very important as a support worker, as a mental health practitioner. This means being tuned into the signs, like things like withdrawal, emotional outbursts, a drop in of self-care, or fearful behavior. It almost means paying attention to what people sometimes aren't saying as well, and noticing when they are not or they are feeling off. Now, as frontline workers, you're often in a position to catch these warning signs early and prevent a crisis from worsening. All right, and that's where I want you guys to be. What can we do to prevent crisis situation? That is what our first goal should be. Okay. All right, let's keep going, guys. Let's go on to the next one. Legal and ethical considerations. Now, again, a very critical part of your professional responsibilities is understanding the legal and ethical frameworks that you will work within, especially when responding to a crisis. As a mental health support worker in, in community services or other sectors, you will hold a position of trust and care. That trust comes with a lot of responsibilities that are not only ethical, but often legally enforceable as well. As you can see on the screen, you'll see three core pillars of legal and ethical practices. You have duty of care, confidentiality, and work role boundaries. Three very important things to any practitioner or mental health worker. Let's talk about duty of care. Now, this is a legal obligation to take reasonable steps to avoid causing harm to others. It's about being proactive in identifying risks and acting to prevent foreseeable harm. If someone under your care is at risk, emotionally, physically, or psychologically, you must act. You can't let that go. This doesn't mean taking over or doing something you're not trying to do or something that is outside of your scope, but it means speaking up, escalating your concerns through the correct channels, and following workplace procedures to protect your client. Next is confidentiality. Now, in our field, we often deal with sensitive and personal information. The general rule is you do not share personal information without consent. But there are expectations to this, as we all know, particularly when safety is at risk. Okay? If someone discloses information that makes you believe they or someone else is in danger, you are allowed and often required, depending on the legislation or which jurisdiction you fall under, to report it. Confidentiality is not about secrecy. It's about trust, and it's also about handling with care and guided by policy. Now, again, this falls under the scope of mandatory reporting. Now, because you guys work, or hopefully will work in the mental health sector and potentially with young people as well, you guys are mandatory reporters and you are obliged in any jurisdiction in Australia to report anything that may be a risk to the client or if they pose a risk to someone else to the necessary channels. Might be child protection, might be the police, might be to other emergency services. Finally, understanding your role or your work role boundaries. It's very important to know the limits of your role. Okay, for instance, or for example, this qualification will not give you the opportunity to be a doctor, right? A lawyer or investigator, unless you are training to do that as well. But just say you're not. Trying to fix something outside of your role, even with good intentions, can cause harm and also liability. Might get you in a lot of trouble. Instead, your job is to report, refer, support, and also work collaboratively with others, with the client, in the system to provide the best possible strategies and avenues for the client to help them in the journey that they are embarking on, the journey of rehabilitation. Okay. Now, question for you guys. What would you do if you suspect a child abuse in your workplace? What would you do? What do you think the steps that you would take in this situation? Tony.
Um, First of all, tell my well, depending on when the incident occurred, I suppose, tell the CEO or upper management.
Yeah.
File a in South Australia, you ring CAL, that's the child abuse report line.
Yeah.
And then basically, yeah, bring the police and see for them to investigate
Excellent.
and with the upper management.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much. So yeah, document, report, and push up the channel. Very important. Okay. Dashika.
Yeah, similar. So keep your internal teams, like your manager,
Yeah.
informed, and then ring the child protection service for Victoria, where I'm based. Just ring them up because falls under mandatory reporting if it is a child abuse.
Excellent. Thank you. Daniel.
Just a tricky one. Like, obviously things could get murky fairly quickly. I'd imagine you'd want to have some confidence in your suspicion
Yeah.
before following that up.
Of course. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it can be it can be a very sticky situation, like you mentioned. Definitely, especially if the client hasn't said something word for word, or made it clear that they're in danger or someone else is in danger. Then it's very hard for you to go down the line of reporting as a mandatory reporter. Obviously, it's going to be very hard as well. You don't want to push the client too much without making them feel uncomfortable as well. I guess it's something that you will learn or gain experience as well on, on what sort of questions to ask the client as well, and how far to push them questions as well.
yeah.
But you're right, it can be a very hard situation to be in as well. Yeah. Thank you very much. We'll go with Aya.
Um, One of the things would be, as someone mentioned here, being a mandatory reporter, you need to report it to the child department and make sure that the notes are taken. Also, trying to keep the information confidential about the child if it is mentioned, and of course keep all the authorities informed so that the case would be taken into a very serious one. Yes.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Phil, you wrote something in the chat. Did you want to share that with us? I think you're just on mute.
I'll always take a second longer to find the mute button and everything else. Yeah, I've got one support worker, one client. I'm working as a support worker
Yeah.
with him, just trying to take the information out before I present it. He's in his 40s, severe schizophrenia for 20 years plus, and his mum is going to pass away in the next couple of months. He doesn't live with his mum, he lives by himself, and he's
Yeah.
also very non-auditory. And at this stage, all I can plan to do is just be there for him. He doesn't want to discuss it. He said to another worker, but he doesn't want to talk about it. But yeah, he's also on compulsory medication once a month, so there's that. But it could get problematic as well. So yeah, it's just a very tight, interesting situation, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. Unfortunately, very common in the support industry, like support in the mental health industry, in the residential care facilities as well. Very unfortunate, but like you said, the best you can do is to continue observations on him. Trying to continue to communicate with him, obviously not pushing him too much, respecting his boundaries as well, but just making sure he understands that you guys are there to communicate with him and to share or listen to him when he's ready to talk is very important, which sounds like you guys are doing already. So that's excellent. Another important thing to mention is, I'm sure you guys are doing as well, is to have everything documented through case notes, incident reports,
Yep.
handover notes, and all that as well. I'm sure you guys do already. So yeah, there's a lot of it's a very intense role, and there's a lot of aspects that involve, or there's a lot of things that you got to ensure that you're doing in the role, and documentation is a very important part of that to prove that you are actually doing your role. You know, you could be doing your job to the utmost excellence that anyone has ever done, ever. You might be the most excellent resident care facility worker of all time, but if you're not documenting that work, then it means nothing, unfortunately. So it's very important that we document our work, guys. It's not about showing off. It's not about, showing other people what you've done. It's about providing evidence that you've done everything you can for the client, and you've followed policy and procedure when it comes to supporting the client as well.
Definitely. There were other days he won't answer the door at all for a
Yeah.
session, so yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's pretty common, especially with non-verbal clients as well. Yeah, but yeah, you've got to keep persevering and keep showing the client that you're not going to give up on them and you're going to be there for them. All right, let's go on to the next one. Codes, policies, and mandatory reporting. Now, we covered a little bit of mandatory reporting in the last slide, but we'll take a closer look now. So something that sits at the very heart of professional and ethical practice in community services is the importance of following the codes, the policies, and understanding, again, your responsibilities around reporting, mandatory reporting. Now, these elements work together to ensure that your service or your service are not only lawful and safe, but also grounded in the values such as integrity, accountability, and also protecting or providing protection for the most vulnerable people, which are the people in your care. As community service workers or mental health practitioners or support workers, you're operating in an environment where you're expected to know the boundaries of your role. It's very important. When to seek help and what to do when someone is at risk. Now, the first point is to always follow your organization's policies and the relevant legislation. Okay, it's very important that you guys do your due diligence and read the legislation that is relevant to you in your state, and also the organization's policies and procedures as well. Very important that you know. Every service provider will have policies in place that reflect legal requirements, the best practice, and internal expectations. Now, in the mental health field, a lot of these policies and procedures will be very similar, but there will be differences as well, depending on the setting and the type of clientele that they provide service to. These include policies around client confidentiality, child safety, domestic violence, information sharing, and of course, mandatory reporting. If you're unsure about what to do in a difficult situation, your first step should always be to refer to the policies or ask your supervisor. The policies are there to support you, and they often include, or they should include, step-by-step procedures so you can respond quickly and appropriately. Mandatory reporting. So this refers to your legal duty, not just an ethical one, to report suspected cases of abuse or harm, like I mentioned previously, particularly when it comes to children. All right, so in Australia, the rules vary slightly depending on the state or territory you work in, but all the laws that does make it mandatory for certain professionals to report suspected abuse. And I'm pretty sure, let me know if I'm wrong, generally across all states, anyone who's working as a volunteer or a paid employee that is supporting young people or vulnerable people are mandatory reporters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we just don't have a national legislation when it comes to this area, which it does cause a lot of confusion because we've got separate legislations for each state, which I think is not what should be the way. It should be a one overarching legislation that covers all of Australia. But we'll leave that for the lawmakers. So, all right, no point of asking that question. I just answered it for you. So we'll go on to the next one.
Excuse me, Sean.
Yep,
Can I just go on to Daniel's question a little bit more
of course.
about mandated reporting and how do you know if it's just a suspicion or not? I live in South Australia, and even if it's a suspicion, a kid might be bruised on the back and instead of, the legs or somewhere more normal, you are to report any suspicion
Yeah,
of abuse. So it's not really a question of if to, it's to do, and then upper management or police, whoever, investigate.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see or you identify any injuries, like Tony has said, it's very important that you report them as well. Obviously, ask the client the question as well. How did them injuries occur, as well as it's something you guys should be asking as well. But yeah, if you identify any injuries, yeah, that's usually something that will trigger a report as well. Grant.
Yeah, just more on that as well. It's not our job to investigate these claims of abuse and stuff as well. So if you suspect it, then you need to report it, and it's not our job to investigate it. You leave that up to the police and the right channels.
That's right. That's correct. Again, that falls under the whole scope thing. Our scope within our role is we just do what we're required in our job description and let the professionals handle their part. Yes, you guys are professionals as well. I'm talking about the experts in the fields like doctors and psychologists and the police for this example. Let them do their role. Our job is just to refer and notify at that instance. Okay. Let's go on now to crisis intervention principles. All right, so as you can see there on the screen, there's some stages there. It says recognize, assess, and support and plan. I'll leave it to the group. Can anyone think of a crisis situation? It could be anything that you managed. And I want you to share the steps that you took in managing that situation. Wayne.
Yeah, thanks, Jan. In 2019, I was involved with the floods in Townsville,
Yep.
and it was very frustrating. Obviously, no one had ever been through a flood before, so trying to
Yep.
manage communities and stuff like that. I was fortunate I wasn't working at the time, so I started a community group just to we'd all check on each other. It
Yep.
was a bit of a, you know, how's your mate sort of thing.
Yep.
And we all tackled the insurance companies.
Oh,
Like
yep.
if, you know, someone wasn't paid on their fence or something, we'd find out if that insurance company had done that for someone else, so their precedents.
Yep.
So we're, you know, got the community involved in that way.
Yep.
There was a lot of Queensland Health clinicians as well over the 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, very good. Awesome. So you almost started like an association or a union.
Yeah, fed up,
Yeah.
flooded, evacuated, displaced, united people.
Beautiful. Very good. Very good work. Yes. So yeah, you created a platform for people to connect in the community who were affected by the floods, and you
Yep.
guys like had one voice, one strong voice because you had so many members,
Yep.
to voice your dissatisfaction to the insurance companies,
Yep.
and had one voice when it came to raising issues and concerns, obviously with local government as well, which
Yeah.
is awesome. Yeah, so really well done. Really well done, Wayne. Thank you for that too.
Yep.
Can anyone share any other examples? Okay, that's fine. All good.
Oh,
So one of the most practical, impactful aspects of this unit is this topic here, which is crisis intervention. So this is where your theory or the theory becomes action. As support workers, you will often be the first point of contact when someone is in distress. You guys are the frontline workers, so it will happen more than it will happen very often. So, and how you respond to those first moments can make a big difference in how the person's safety, sense of support, and longer term recovery as well. Now, crisis intervention is not just about fixing the crisis or solving every problem for the client. It's about creating enough calm and safety for the person to begin regaining control. And Wayne's example is a good one there. They've created a safe environment by having that online platform, that group where they got everyone connected for a common purpose as well. That's a good example of that. Now, in the short term, immediate support that aims to reduce distress and prevent further harm also is very important. Um, as you can see, the four key stages in crisis intervention on the screen. Um, think of these as, I guess, a roadmap in any situation where someone is overwhelmed, unsafe, or emotionally dysregulated. Now, these four steps are general, and a lot of workplaces or different industries like the police, ambulance, corrective services, like the industry I'm at, the stages of crisis intervention will differ, but very similar to what you see on the screen. Now, the first one, recognize. This is about noticing the signs that a person is in crisis or there is a crisis at hand. This could be based on their words, their body language, emotional state, or behavior, or what you're observing, simply as what you're observing. Maybe, they're shaking, crying, lashing out, or speaking in a disorganized way. Maybe they're withdrawn. Recognizing crisis early allows you or will allow you to act before the situation escalates. And that's what we want to do first, is to recognize and try to deal with that situation before it de-escalates, and then we have to um, take other actions that we necessarily wouldn't want to. The next one is assess. So once you attain what is happening, once you identify the situation for what it is, next thing is to assess. So this is about gathering information, what's happening, what's the level of risk, are they suicidal, is anyone else in danger? This is where your active listening skills come into play, your observation skills come into play. You need to ask clear, calm questions while being sensitive and non-judgmental during the whole situation. Also, assess whether you're the right person to handle the situation, or if you need to escalate it to someone more qualified if it's outside the scope of your role. Now, as mental health practitioners, you'll have the skills, obviously after your qualification, online training, your onboarding and training at work, you'll have the skills to negotiate during crisis situations with individuals who are heightened, who are risks of self-harm to themselves or other people as well. So that will be something that you guys will be experts in as well, on how to de-escalate situations as well. The next step is the support. This is about offering calm and also stabilizing presence. Sometimes support means helping the person breathe and ground themselves. Other times it might mean sitting with them in silence, like we got an example before about the individual with schizophrenia. Sometimes they don't want to respond, sometimes they are nonverbal, and the only support that you can give at them times is just to be there and just to let the client know that you're there for them when they're ready to speak. It could be as simple as that. It's crucial not to take control unless safety demands it. Let the person feel heard, seen, and supported. It's very important. Now, the last step there is to plan. It's very important that you work with the person to identify the next steps. We don't want to dictate terms. We want to promote choice. We want to promote autonomy and independence as well. So this might be creating a safety plan with the client, calling a crisis service, referring to a counselor, or helping them reconnect with someone that they trust. Always try to collaborate with where possible, but be ready to act quickly if they are at risk or the situation is getting higher or it is escalating. All right. Critical incidents and referrals. All right, so why is it important to know referral options in your area? Why is it important for you as a support worker, as a mental health professional, to know your referral options? Great.
So you can direct them to the right services that they need.
That's it. Yeah. It's very important that you know, as a professional, the avenues or the professionals or other stakeholders that you can make referrals to. And it also goes a long way if you've got a client in front of you and you don't know what referrals to make or who to make them referrals to, they're not going to have much confidence in your ability as a support worker. But if you have connections and networks with psychologists, counselors, AOD counselors, doctors and so on, and when they can see that you can easily make these referrals, they're going to have a lot of confidence that you're going to be able to assist them or help them in this journey of theirs. Okay. So when we talk about critical incidents in a community service setting or mental health setting, we mean any sudden or unexpected event that poses an immediate threat to the safety or well-being of the person, the client, staff member, or even the public. This, again, could include things like violence, self-harm, medical emergencies, or natural disasters. Now, it's important to follow the following. First, you have to follow critical incident procedures. Okay. So every organization will or should have clear critical incident policies. Your role is to understand and follow these. This will involve who to notify, how to report it, and what immediate actions that you need to take. Now, often your first action is to, of course, to ensure the safety of the client. Now, then it will be to notify the appropriate people, which will be your supervisors and other professional, might be referrals as well, and document what happened. Can't stress that enough, guys. Documentation is very, very important. It proves that you are doing your job. Okay? So do not ever neglect documentation. Next is engage emergency services, of course, if necessary. You don't want to get them involved if not necessary. So in some situations, you will need to call emergency services like the police, the ambulance, or fire. Don't hesitate if someone's life is at danger. I would be calling emergency services immediately. It's better to act quickly and explain your reasoning later than to delay and risk further harm to the person or potential harm to the person. So then it's important that you know when and where to refer. One second, sorry. So after the immediate crisis is managed, the person may need ongoing support. That's where, like I spoke about, knowing your local referral options becomes very important. You need to connect them with mental health clinicians, domestic violence services. It could be drug and alcohol counselors, doctors, GPs. Could be local groups, rehabilitation centers, and so on. The faster you can link them with the right support, the better their long-term outcomes will be. Okay. Right. Addressing safety concerns. Now, a lot of you guys who have been enrolled or with us for a few months would have come across the client safety plans through First Access. Now, and then for the newcomers who have just started their journey with us today, you guys would have seen safety plans in your current roles, possibly. So what would you include in a client safety plan? What are things that you would want to see in the client's safety plan? Phil, you got your hand up?
Yep. I've got it off mute this time. Yep, good. Basically, how they or we can remove any items that could cause them danger, i.e., knives are a big one. They're in every damn kitchen in the world, except for this day and age, but where it's takeaway. But yeah, knives and other items that could cause danger. What are we going to do with them?
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Especially if the client is has history of self-harm or is threatening self-harm or suicide. Things like getting rid of dangerous items around the facility would be part of the safety plan, definitely. For also if if the client doesn't live in a residential facility and is not cared by anyone and lives on their own, you would have that in their safety plan also. If they feel like they are gonna have thoughts of hurting themselves or if they find themselves at risk of hurting themselves, is to contact someone immediately, or the safety plan might even suggest not to have any sharp cutlery in their residence for a time being as well. That could be part of the safety plan. Mickey.
I have a question here is like, is safety plan like, how to say, is this is the one category, or it will be like different safe plan like in under different categories?
Yeah.
I'm not
Excellent. Yeah, excellent question. When it comes to the safety plan that you guys are completing through your assessments, they might be different to what you will see in hospitals or what you will see in aged care facilities or youth justice centers or correctional facilities or even, disability services, they will differ depending on the client, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So in regards to like for what we are doing here,
Yeah.
so for the safety plan, I think mostly included the emergency contact.
Yeah.
Sometimes can be the person's relatives, like friends, or sometimes can be that person's GP or psychologist if they have one. And also, we also can include, for example, like say the third party, like the police station, or sometimes like say for the safe shelter, like blue lines, all those like the place or they can go to, and other services they may need. This also can be included in the safety plan.
Excellent. Very good. So what would you do if the client comes to you, and yes, police, having the local police station number in their safety plan is very important, but what else would you do with the police contact? What would you do in the background?
With the background, probably, I'm not sure, like we are we can get the consent of the clients, for example, like try to complete a personal report with the police station, or with the police in the close by police station. Also, they have a kind of like basic background of the person.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll contact the local police station and speak to the liaison officers in the police station and just let them know there's a client in the area who may seek support from you guys, and you'll give their basic details, address, mental health concerns, and so on. And the liaison officer, which are community workers in the police station, will then get in contact with the client also, just to touch base and say, make them feel safe. Look, if you're ever in danger, give us a call, and they will reassure them to say, look, you're not going to get in trouble if you call us. We're here for your protection, and we're here to make sure you're safe. All right. So that's just the added element when it comes to safety. All right. Dashika.
Things like what are the trigger points for
Yeah.
clients? Usually, that gives the basis, what to look for as the support worker, and then any known remedies that kind of calm them down. Some clients would have a support, like a therapy dog, or like a
Excellent.
toy that they kind of find calming for themselves, or playing music. Things like that
Yes.
can be entered
Very
into
good.
the plan.
Excellent. Triggers are very important. Very, very important to have that in the safety plan. Sometimes a client doesn't know their triggers. So, Dashika, how would you help identify their triggers? Who would you work with to help identify them triggers and have that in the safety plan?
So, usually the company, when the client is taken on board, I think you need to develop the safety plan with consultation with the family or a carer that they have. And then also, maybe if the client has been having a long-term GP or a psychologist, they will know from their past history what has usually triggered them an episode. So through those medical records, it's like a combination of
Excellent.
few things.
Excellent. Yeah, because sometimes the client doesn't know what triggers them. So, like you said, it's important to reach out, obviously, with consent to GPs, psychologists, other past community caseworkers as well, to gather as much information you possibly can about triggers and other avenues as well. To gather as much information as you can, so you create a picture of this client, and and obviously, even if there is a lack of information as well, You can get in contact with the psychologist that you're going to make the referral to, obviously with consent, and talk to them about what the triggers are as well, if they've identified any triggers after their sessions as well. So it's about thinking outside the box. It's not just about, doing what's black and white, making referrals, saying hello, doing the disclaimer, writing some notes down. It goes beyond that. You've got to think outside the square and do this. I want you guys to start thinking outside the square. So when you say things like, identify triggers, well, how are you going to do that if you don't know what they are, if they don't know what they are? So you've got to start thinking in them lines, or think putting numbers of caseworkers or police officers or police stations, or how does that look? How are we going to do that? If they call a police station, are their police station going to know what they're talking about? We've got to think ahead, 2 steps ahead. All right, Michelle.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, with the safety plan, is this just the one sort of thing in regards to immediate sort of stuff in the home, or is that the one of the safety plans for like if they were leaving a DV situation?
Well, it just depends on the client situation. So I'm
Okay.
talking about in general terms.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess
Yeah.
you could look at including even simple medication like Panadol and stuff like that can be
Yeah.
a danger to clients now. Hence why it's so restricted nowadays in the pharmacy. So, I mean, you could look at implementing things like if they had a history of medication abuse and stuff, that they have to go maybe on a daily basis to their pharmacy and collect the medication and
Yeah.
take it there. Especially if it's things like Valium and other substances where you're not going to really, or sleeping pills, you're not going to hand over a bunch and say, see you later.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be links in with the pharmacy to do that on a regular basis or more frequent reviews with their GP or something. So,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Of course. So,
I
thank you,
mean, I know
Michelle.
people can stockpile it, but I mean, you can
Yeah.
sort of limit it a
Yeah.
little bit if you can at least do it on a daily basis that they have to go and present and maybe just collect, 1 or 2 tablets sort of thing. It's a bit of a pain in the backside, but it's a bit of a
Well, yeah. Well, if
safety
it's a
net at least.
risk, if
Yeah.
it's a risk, that would definitely be an example of what you can do with a safety plan also.
Yeah, because I mean, people just think even Panadol is okay, and it can do so much damage to your organs and that by taking a whole box of Panamax or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, good. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, guys. So now let's talk about developing SMART goals with the client. Now, you guys would have heard this, and this SMART acronym is used in most industries as well, and they're also used by support workers and mental health practitioners when they providing clients or helping clients to come up with some goals. Now, once you have a clearer picture and you work together with the client to develop a safety plan, we try to use, or you can use the SMART goal system. That means goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That's what the acronym stands for. SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So this ensures that the client knows exactly what steps they can take to keep safe and regain control of their lives. Now, okay, we went through that. All right, let's keep going. Okay, we covered that pretty good. Understanding self-care. All right. Now let's focus on or start talking about a very important topic for all of you, which is very often overlooked, which is self-care. Now, as support workers in the field of mental health, we are constantly exposed to emotional distress of others, or you will be once you're in the field. And if we don't look after ourselves, or you don't look after yourself, we risk serious consequences like burnout and what they call compassion fatigue. Now, even with, you know, big manly guys who think they're tough, I've seen it plenty of times in my industry where they think they're tough. You know, they don't want to talk to anyone about what's going on. They see hundreds and thousands of incidents in a time frame of 10 years, and you know, they think, you know, and that they don't look after themselves in terms of self-care. They do go through things like compassionate fatigue and also trauma of their own. Now, self-care is very important for managing stress in crisis situations. Working in community services or in mental health fields, especially during a crisis or trauma response, can take a real toll on a person. You're often supporting people through the darkest moments, and that emotional load can build up if it's not released or managed appropriately. Now, the next part includes emotional, physical, and mental well-being. So self-care isn't just about, you know, going to yoga or, you know, having a bath or bubble bath. It's about managing your full well-being. All right, like we spoke about on our last unit, or for the new learners, it's looking after yourself holistically, making sure your physical, your mental, social, and spiritual well-being is all in order. Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating properly? Do you have someone you can talk to after a difficult shift? Are all things to consider. Another thing you have to look out for is avoiding burnouts and compassion fatigue. Now, burnouts is a state of chronic stress and exhaustion. Compassion fatigue is when you become so emotionally drained that it becomes difficult to feel empathy, which I have experienced a few times in my professional career as well. Both can lead to poor work performance and poor personal health. And ultimately, they push good workers out of the sector as well, which is very unfortunate. So I can't stress enough how important looking after yourself is in this industry. It's very important that you do things to wind down, you do things to reset and be ready for your next shift. Very important. And there are a lot of things that you can do. Could be as simple as going to the gym, meditation, talking to someone, journaling, reading a book. Something that's going to disconnect you from work and make you focus on yourself. Okay. All right, and on this screen, more examples of self-care strategies. So self-care looks very different for everyone. Like I said, it's just depending on what makes you, what's your hobbies and what your interests are. For some, it might be a few minutes of daily mindfulness or meditation. For other people, it might be making sure to take proper breaks, speak to a supervisor after a difficult situation, or simply take annual leave when required. Obviously, there are supports out there like EAP, which is a counseling service for employees or employers, peer support groups as well, and a lot of organizations. It's important that you plan and prioritize your own well-being. Self-care shouldn't be an afterthought. It needs to be a part of your weekly plan or in your routine. Just like you support clients with their goals and routines, you need to check in with yourself as well. If you're not looking after your well-being, how can you truly be there for other people when required? Okay. All right. Which brings us to a case study. Now, I usually do one or two of these every session, guys, for our new learners that have joined us today. Now, there's a couple of questions that I'll leave you guys. I'll give you guys about 10-15 minutes just to discuss the case study as a group and try to answer the questions as well as a group, and just to dissect the case study, talk about the challenges and what we need to do as support workers to help the client, and in this case is Jordan. Now I'll read the case study first. So Jordan, age 27, has a history of bipolar and has been linked with a local community mental health service for over a year. When stable, Jordan is friendly, creative, and actively participates in art therapy and social skills groups twice a week. He lives alone in a small apartment and has limited contact with family who live interstate. He has close friendship with another participant named Leo, who occasionally checks in on him. Over the past 3 weeks, staff have noted a change in Jordan's behavior. He has missed several sessions and when contacted by phone, seemed distracted, irritable, and dismissive. Staff were also alerted to a series of concerning posts of his social media, including messages such as, "I don't see the point in trying anymore. The only peace I'll find is in silence. If I disappear, no one will care anymore, or will care anyway." On a scheduled home visit, his support worker Mel finds Jordan at home alone. The blinds are drawn and the apartment is dark and cluttered. Jordan appeared disheveled, I'm thinking that's the word, agitated, and hasn't eaten in days. He says he hasn't been taking his medication because it messes with his thoughts. He tells Mel, "Everything feels too much. I just want it to stop." Okay, now the questions are, what are the signs that indicate Jordan is in a mental health crisis? What immediate actions should Mel take as a support worker? How can Mel support Jordan in the recovery process after the crisis has been stabilized? Now, I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'll give you guys 10 to 15 minutes to discuss this as a group. Have a friendly discussion, guys. Give each other opportunity to share their opinion as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in 10 to 15. Okay, thank you.
Go, Sam.
You were missed last week, Sam.
Yeah, well, no, why me? Why me? But
Why not?
Why
you
Who
not?
else is gonna show off if not you?
Was
I
very
carry the
quiet without
show.
you. I was like, where
well,
is
there's you, Amberly. You
Like
had
to
your hand up for
talk,
minutes.
Oh, God forbid. I just wanted to flex
Sam, actually, I have noticed that you were very silent, very quiet today.
Yeah, no, I just
So I just want to reach out you. You're good, mate?
yeah, no, I'm good. Well, like, the thing is, I only put my hand up when no one else does, and everyone's been contributing, so I'll just let that
Oh,
go,
that's
you know.
good. All right.
Yeah.
All good.
Let someone else
Well
shine.
done,
I'll
Sam.
leave his to it.
You know
Yeah,
we
well, you
give you
know,
grief, but we really do like you.
oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
And
it's just you're
feeling
easy to stir.
feelings.
So if it ever gets a problem, just sing out and say lay off.
No, that's right.
Some people may
Yeah.
listen, others might not.
That's all good by me. Yeah.
Oh, good. So
Um,
being honest, I checked out of listening to what was happening about Jordan's crisis, so I better have a read of it. So
yeah. Well, like, obviously he's indicating that he's wanting to commit suicide. There's a lot of
Yep.
Where is the suicide things?
Well, I don't
Well, he
see the
said-
point
he's-
in trying anymore. The only peace I'll find is in silence. If I disappear, no one will care
No
anyway.
one's going to care.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, it's inferring that he's going to be ending his life pretty soon. So,
yeah.
Okay.
that's probably when Mel should step in and ask if he's considering suicide or self-harm. And she's just gonna have to walk him through that,
And also
ask why.
try and also get him to take his medication again, because he's obviously hearing voices or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
And so many times people stop taking their medication because they feel okay. And then they're like, oh, I don't need it anymore. And that's
Yeah.
when the voices and that sort of thing would obviously kick in. But he also lives alone. Like it says, he doesn't really have any contact with his family and they're all interstate. So he probably just.
Yeah. And Mel should probably, if there's another participant that's friends with him in Leo, maybe she should be checking in with him to see if she's heard from him, to see, if there's anything else that he can shed some light on.
Yeah.
I would
To see
probably
if she,
also flagging on the medication aspect, that he's describing that it's messing with his thoughts. So maybe discussing with his GP, about that, because medication titration is something is very sensitive. So being able to maybe even alter his medication. I hear a little person is yapping a bit in the background. That's very cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
My
trying to work out
ADHD
talking
is
because I
going
can't see
insane.
easily.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. If I'm completely candid, I'm just in no place to be on camera. I'm in my PJs and I've been mass clearing out my old bedroom because I've got a new housemate's moving in. So I've been vacuuming while listening.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, it's freezing. So my partner threw my dressing gown open and then I was like,
yeah, it's not a camera for Amberley Day today, but
oh,
I'm
come
not
on
gonna.
now.
I was gonna also keep on mute, but I've just been jumping at the bit to yap. So back on this, I think discussing with his GP his medication, and then it also looks like he's definitely withdrawing socially and as far as his environmental exposures, like that he's on home visit schedules, his blinds are drawn, he's staying in the dark, and that could even
Yeah.
be a part of discussing the fact that he's been agitated. And a lot of these things could have to do not only with his bipolar, it's all integrated. Like when you're thinking your biomedical, psychosocial aspects of all of these things are all interlinked. So I think that GP discussion would be a big one because it looks like all of his aspects of wellness have just gone out the toilet. All right, I'm shutting up now. That's been enough.
Yeah.
Tony, next. Or
I just would like to say that I'd probably, as his worker, ring an ambulance.
He needs a cat assessment, I reckon.
Yeah, I wouldn't go because he's been like this for 3 weeks already.
Mm.
And it's like the staff had noticed the change, and then he's missed sessions.
Yeah.
Won't receive phone calls, and then talking away he is on the social media. And then being at home with the blinds drawn and the apartment is dark and flooded means he's obviously has either been in bed all the time or definitely not coping, and maybe a hospital stay where he can get his medication and everything sorted out.
Yeah, when they're saying things like, I don't see the point in trying anymore. The only peace I find is in silence.
Yeah.
No one will care. They're all cries for help, like reaching out to somebody to say, are you okay?
Or
Yeah.
cries for attention.
Yeah. Well, see,
And
I'm maybe
I
the
just
mistake
want
of
it to
that.
stop would definitely be, I think this is a crisis to the point of immediate suicide risk. So I think you're dead on tone that you'd want to.
I just would like to get a better assessment,
Yeah.
like before I'd leave him, or to say our appointment's over, see you later, mate.
Yeah, and I'd be really careful about saying, like, just from my own personal experience with my daughter, at one point in time, the hospital told me that the things that this was, but sort of like what Jordan's saying, was a cry for attention. I can tell you my child is now 20, and this happened 7 years ago, and she has never, ever let me forget the part about when I said that, well, the hospital said it was just, you're seeking attention.
Mm.
She said to me, anybody who has these thoughts and things like that, it's not a cry for attention.
No.
It's a cry for help.
For help.
I mean, I
yeah.
just be really careful about ever saying to somebody, you're only doing it because you want attention, because they generally aren't seeking attention. They just,
It's one of those
fucking
assumptions,
desperate.
isn't it?
It's just
Yeah,
some
it's an
way of
assumption.
like,
Definitely perpetrates stigma around
yeah,
mental
and
health and that feeling of being able to reach out. I know
yeah,
that you can, I think anybody that's struggled with mental health, especially I think at that teenage, but it's like
yeah.
the worst thing you can imagine is asking for help and then it being dismissed like that.
And my
And
daughter was
then,
13, and that's what the
yeah,
hospital just said. Oh, she's just seeking attention. And I knew nothing better. So I'm kind of like, oh, okay. It's such one little word, and any sorts of things can affect so much of what they feel.
Mm.
and if a kid's going to the point of seeking attention as like I want to die,
Mm,
it's like that's what could possibly be going on that is that deeply troubling. It needs to be taken so incredibly seriously. Even
yeah.
if you boil it down to they want attention, yeah, but they
Yeah, you'd
obviously
rather
need
that.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's that attention is needed because if you don't give it, the worst case scenario is
I mean,
so
he had
incredibly
told
worse.
to call her psychologist said to call the police, right? This was
Yeah,
only a couple of years
absolutely.
ago. And the police come out, and would you believe there was two, one a gentleman and a female. I thought they were doing bad cop, good cop routine. The guy started saying, "You're just doing this for attention. We've got better
That's
things to be
atrocious.
doing than be here wasting our time here at your place." This was 2 years ago, and I was like, "This is good
So
cop."
mean.
He just, he
That's
was legit
atrocious because
serious. I was
and
like,
that is such a it just
"Yeah,
immediately but public mental health access is something that I would go hyper
it's
fixate
stuffed
yap
up
on,
in
so
Melbourne.
I
I don't
won't.
know about anywhere else, but down here in Melbourne,
Atrocious. It's getting better here in SA, especially peer mental health support. I think that it's really essential that there is some form of instigation of emergency services that is directly for mental health. I think that that's
yeah, that needs a
really
team, doesn't it?"
essential. It's very essential. It should be like ambulance, fire, police, and emergency
Yeah,
mental health support. It should be they should instigate it in the same way, but that's
I
government
know our
funding.
CAT
Anyway, we're
team down
going on
here
a
is 9 to 5, and they don't work after hours or on the
mm,
weekends. If you need a CAT team, you can't call them anymore besides 9 to 5. Most of these people have these issues like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Late at night or early in the morning.
thoughts.
and crisis support, 24-hour crisis support hotlines or access like that can only do so much good. It's so incredibly essential. But I think rolling it back to the case study,
Jordan.
I think immediate action, definitely like what Tony said, would be some kind of ambulance mental health admission. I'm not incredibly familiar about what the process is for involuntary admission of adults. Someone who
Isn't that
maybe
like a
has a little
section
bit of
21 something?
yeah, which do we have? Would we have authority to? I'm not 100. Someone might need to fact check that. Tony's got a hand up. Let's go. Oh, you're
I
muted, my
hear you,
darling.
Tony.
Since you're in South Australia, Amberley,
Oh yes, hit me with it.
yeah. So what happens here is anyone can ring the 1345 134545 number, which is the mental health triage number, and they can have an assessment on the phone, and they can actually get free ambulance access to their closest hospital if they go voluntary under the Mental Health Act.
That's amazing.
Otherwise,
I like to know.
otherwise they can be detained under Section 57C, I believe, of the Mental Health Act.
I know here in Melbourne that there is the certain things where you're mandated under sections that you have to go and have like your injection once a month or something like that if
Yeah.
you're non-compliant with taking medication
Yeah, so
orally.
that's the community order.
Yeah, so yeah, to have
Yeah.
that. I remember when I did my placement at the psych inpatient at the Alfred. Whew, yeah, that was an eye-opener, and a lot of them were in on that. So
When you say have a mental health assessment on the phone, that's with the like for instance with Jordan, you mean like so like for instance I might make the phone call, but I'd be placing the handing the phone to Jordan so that he could they could direct questions directly to him, for
yeah,
example.
even with their consent over the phone, you can advocate for them.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon he needs to go in and have a full assessment because he sounds too at risk of ending it if he's left on his own.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a friend of mine actually. He was on compulsory medication, and he had jumped off for a couple of months, and he stopped taking the meds, and then just the other day jumped over a balcony. He's still alive, but
Jesus, I'm
he's
so sorry to
really,
hear that.
yeah, he's really not in a good way.
Well, in Queensland, I think I'm a bit off topic, but if you've just been in the inpatient unit and they've noticed that you've got prior history to not taking your medication or whatnot, they put you on the TA. And with that, if you're not compliant taking your medication, they keep a close eye on them. So I think that without him being on one of those, from what I can see, it should be taken into authorities' hands, yeah. Because it's a bit of a risk.
Probably when he's feeling okay, he'd be back to taking his medication kind of regularly, but obviously he's having some sort of definite crisis.
Yeah, and he should be on a treatment order by the sounds of what I can. Anyway.
So would that be like part following the immediate crisis response? Would be like if we're looking at question 2, supporting Jordan in recovery process. Part of that would maybe be that, yeah.
Yeah, take them to ED so they can get a mental health person. They get them on the TV and all that, and they'll speak to them. Because when you're like that, I believe that seeing a mental health person is really beneficial, and they can do that in the hospital. So I would send him to ED, I reckon.
Yeah, he needs to go to ED.
And from there, they can figure out which road they want to take. Like, does he need a treatment order, or does he just need some medication for tonight, or does he need to go to hospital? Like, it's I think ED is probably the way to go.
So that's first step in the crisis. So immediate action.
Yeah.
We're saying that emergency department hospitalization. Maybe I think you'd probably first off, like what Sam said in the very beginning, would be asking him dead out, like, are you planning to commit suicide? Do you want to die? Like, do you have a plan? Discussing through that. And then I think from there it would be either making that mental health triage call of his own. It'd be ideal if we could get him to a point through that discussion where he's voluntarily taking himself there. And like we can support him through voluntary in that emergency department situation, or involuntary if we need to. So then moving to set to 2, how we're supporting him through that recovery. So
maybe meeting with him more frequently.
Yeah, following along with his treatment plan with medication. So that discussion with his GP, getting his meds sorted. It looks like maybe 2, after the crisis has been stabilized, he probably really needs some, rolling back to our wellness enrichment is like social some social integration,
Mm.
all of that.
Yeah.
What we were talking about in our last topic. It sounds like a lot of that once the emergency crisis is done
Yeah,
or
I was
sort of
wrong.
stabilized.
Yeah,
Or do you think maybe her attending some of the appointments with him
because
to
I've
go for
actually said this,
medication
just to
and
cry
things?
for help.
I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
Also a safety plan for
Been a long day.
patient
Yeah,
has
safety.
been stabilized. Because you want to have things in place for when he's feeling triggered again.
Mm.
So
Even putting in his
Yeah.
phone like the numbers that he needs, like, you know, save them there so he knows
Must
that
be
he's
the
got
order
them.
that they do the units in, because some
Fine.
of these people are already
Oh,
out of place. Almost fully.
Phil, you're unmuted, my doll.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
safety plan. So yeah, people that he can rely on to call when he's feeling emotionally challenged. You know, maybe a neighbor that lives close by, or a family member or a friend or something. That'd be, I think, a good idea. I think
yeah.
when he is feeling triggered, he could do some, you know, strategies like meditation could be something that he could.
Yeah, grounding
Yeah.
strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here, if they're not feeling well, you can call the mental health line and it goes to the hospital. So you've got the IPU, like nurses that are, which I think, like just giving him like supporting him in a way that, you know, when you walk away, he's got something there. And if that's not that case where you can't do that, then go to ED. Like that's like, because it looks like he's declining with just the way he's living as well. So
Yeah, self-care's
that's a
gone out the window.
yeah, that's a big one for mental health when they stop self-care, because they you know that they're starting to
Disassociate sort of thing from everything.
right, yeah. Which is why it's so hard to bring someone in that state back down on your own. You have to get support. I don't think leaving it would, or like not referring on, or whatever you want to do. If you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, it's a bit late for me.
Yeah, that's right. You're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like identifying that first step would be crucial, because
Yeah.
you know you can't really, like, he's got what, his apartment's like disheveled, right? So you know,
Yeah, blinds are down, it's
yeah,
cluttered.
he's not going to clean that apartment in like 1 hour. So you know,
No.
just perhaps maybe a section of the room for, like, for example, you know, you might put that cleaning his apartment as one of the goals that he might look to do.
To get some people in to
Start,
sort of declutter.
yeah,
Well, as messy mind is your room is messy, like
Yes.
you know, yeah.
I was going to say that as well, Alexandra. They say the state of your house is like it's like equivalent to your mind. So, you know.
Actually, in regards to what you guys has been discussed, I think I remember what's the name, Cheyenne used to mention before, right? There's an organization called NDIS. So for Jordan's situation, if they can contact with NDIS, actually the NDIS can easily offer. I mean, if it's got house package approved, he can easily get the service from the NDIS, like the DA, like domestic assistance, right? They can get frequent like cleaners come over, and more importantly, he probably can get a personal carer as well, which can frequently check on him. Yeah.
You'd have to be
It's a
careful.
long
When people have got that sort of issues. Sorry.
I don't know if I'm talking to someone.
Sorry, I was just going to say, a lot of the time, if they've got to the state of being cluttered and things like that, and they're sort of hoarding stuff, you can do more damage by having a team of people come in, just pulling all their shit apart and throwing it out. It's
They
sort
need
of
more emotional support than the physical.
and work through it.
Work through it with them.
And that takes away a bit of like it can impact their feelings of autonomy as well. Like for
Mm.
some people, that can be really helpful as part of their like plans or goals would be, you know, you're doing like the client is working towards like say for example, if you're working with someone who struggles with executive dysfunction, so like your ADHD, is that could be part of their treatment plan and their goals and strategies in order to make them feel better. But for someone maybe who struggles with permanency issues or like autism or something, that if you went in and disrupted their
Yes.
routine and environment, that's going to completely destroy your
Derail them.
therapeutic alliance there. And it takes away their autonomy of like, I, as someone with ADHD,
Same.
if somebody came in and like cleaned all my shit, I would absolutely go insane because it would, one, it kind of adds a bit of like shame to your situation, which is just part of when I clean, I can't find anything. Sometimes things need to be a bit trashed. I need to live with things messy because object permanence, if I'm not looking at something, it's gone. So
Yeah.
like
I like how you said that one. That was good.
See,
no,
I'm a
but
clean freak. I like everything in order.
yeah, so
Yeah.
everybody's going to have different views of what is safe and healthy and what is functioning. So
Yeah.
working with your client in, okay, how can I support you to be functioning in the best way possible? And that could be, let's work on a cleaning plan in order to break this down, because
I reckon that can be part two. Part of it.
absolutely in that, but and this is supporting something like we would want to sit down, and I think Mel would want to support Jordan in the recovery process by breaking all of this down into little bits, because there are a
Baby
bunch of
steps.
things. Exactly. So first you've got to recover from the immediate crisis, which is
Yeah.
getting him back stable on his meds and not wanting to, like, not having those suicidal ideations. Once you've stabilized that, it's moving into basic functioning. So
Yeah,
clothing,
get him.
sleeping, eating, going outside, exercising, all of that. Then you move
Yeah.
on to social. Then you like baby steps.
Massive.
Yeah,
It could be a long process.
comfortability in their mind before. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's really right. I like how you said that. Yeah.
Thanks.
All I can say is Sam sitting there smiling.
No, no, it's
I've
great.
taken
It's
the TA position from him today.
yeah. Well, like, you guys have a lot to offer, so I'm not gonna interrupt that. So
I can't help interrupting, so tell me to shut up. Like,
All
really.
right. Sorry,
that's
guys.
that's right. Try and did it.
Shut up.
All right, we'll have a break, and I'll come back at 8:05, and then I'll cover the assessments for this unit.
Okie dokie.
All right, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Okay, now let's talk a bit about the assessments. Now, there's 4 assessments for this unit. The first one is a quiz. It's about 16 questions. I'll leave this for you guys to attempt in your own time. If you got any questions, or you want to clarify anything with any of these questions, just let me know. Send me an email, and I'll support you guys through that end. But you should be fine. Even if you get it wrong, the assessor will send you some feedback for your answers, and then you can reattempt. Again, you can always reach out to me as well. Now, what I want to focus on are the role plays, of course. Now, for this role play, for this unit, sorry, there are 3 assessments that require role plays. Now, assessment 2 on your screen is 1 role play. Okay. Assessment 3, again, is a role play. You're playing a support worker and you need to support Serena. And the 4th one is 2 role plays, part A and part B. Now, this is the one I want to talk about, and this is the one I want to give you guys the opportunity to complete next week. Because it's got two elements, two role plays involved, I think this is the one that we should be looking to complete next week. So, for the new guys, what we do during session 2 and 3 is mainly covering role play assessments, and I might cover some course content. But I did cover, so during the first session, I usually cover the main points of the learning outcomes for the unit. And then for the remainder of the weeks, we concentrate on assessments just to give you guys some time, another avenue to complete your role plays, which is a lot of what a lot of learners were asking for a long time. So it's been working pretty well. The most important part of this qualification, other than, of course, learning, is also completing assessments, because you want to get them qualifications. You want to, you paid good money for these qualifications, so you want to get them certificates. And the way to get them certificates is to complete all your assessments. So I want to talk about this assessment on your screen. So let's talk about task 4. One second, guys. Okay. All right. All right. So session. Just make sure I've got the right one here. Yeah. Okay. That's the one. All right. So this is a 2-part scenario involving client named Coleman, as you can see here, Coleman Newman. Now, Coleman is experiencing severe emotional and behavioral crisis. Your job will be to manage both the immediate response to the crisis, which is part A, and then support Coleman in planning for recovery for part B. Now, I've got a suspicion that this might involve a few people in the role play. Let me have a look. Part A. No, not necessarily. Oh, that's good. Excellent. All right. So you are playing the role of a client service officer at First Access. Coleman, your assigned client, is in the reception area and appears under the influence of alcohol. He smells strongly of alcohol. He is visibly distressed and physically shoves another client, creating a safety risk for others. There are several other people in the reception area, including staff and clients. Now, Coleman's backstory or history is that he has a traumatic history of child abuse. He has a supportive wife and 2 young children. Today, he's just found out that his wife has taken the kids and left, and he's emotionally spiraling. He has tried to call her repeatedly, and when her father answers and gives him the news, it triggers Coleman's outburst. Your partner, or the other person in the role play, will play and will act out Coleman's role. The person will be yelling and swearing, furiously trying to stab at his phone, trying to make contact with the wife, throwing a fake phone nearby, knocking over magazines or a small table, which we won't be able to do during over virtual platform, which is fine, and displaying increasing anger, following by shame and sadness once he realizes he's lost control. Now, your job as a support worker are to follow the steps on how to manage crisis. First part is to recognize the signs of crisis, like we've been speaking about, which are things like alcohol use, aggression, verbal abuse, erratic behavior, Also consider trauma history and trigger, like the wife leaving might be a trigger as well. The second part is to ensure environmental safety. So safety of the workplace, people around, and of course Coleman as well, even though he's the agitator in the situation. We're going to remove or distance other clients if possible. So you will display that in the role play by talking, just saying, all right, guys, can we just clear out the area? Just leave me and Coleman alone. I just need everyone else to exit. And then there you'll need to try to settle Coleman down, redirect him, try to move him to a safe area or a quiet area where you can continue to talk with him. Remain calm and use low, steady tone is very important. Make sure you got some, we can't display this in a virtual platform, so we'll forget that part, what I was just going to say. Yeah, you don't need to call emergency yet, or don't worry about the emergency services. You got to display de-escalation techniques, so acknowledge Coleman's feelings. You can say things like, I can see that you're very overwhelmed at the moment. When you calm down, we'll take a chance to talk about what's going on. In the meantime, try to, take a breath, do something what usually calms you down during these situations, and get them thinking about how to settle down. Very important that you've got a non-threatening body language as well. Again, I'll offer a private space to talk. Eventually, in the role play, Coleman will come back down and he will apologize and express sadness and begin to cry and shake towards the end of that session. Continue using calming communication and start gently enabling self-positive talk or positive self-talk. So that's part A of the role play, and that needs to go for 6 to 10 minutes. Okay. Now, for the new learners, I know this can be very confronting, these role plays, when we first go through it. But it's very important that you follow the instructions as is. So if you're doing these role plays in your own time, which you can, as long as they're not assessor-led role plays, and this is not, it will tell you in the instruction that if you require an assessor. If you do the role play at home, you can have a friend or family member or whoever you want to play the role as a client. Where a lot of learners go wrong is they create a script by using AI platforms to create a script. It's very easy to do all that now, and they read straight off a script. Now, it's very easy to identify that someone is reading off a script, and when you read off a script, you're not displaying micro skills, which are active listening, paraphrasing, body language, eye contact, them important skills that I need to see to assess you. Now, you can have notes in front of you to help you. That is completely fine. But do not read off a script or you will have to do the role play all over again. The person playing the client can use a script. That is completely fine because they're not being assessed. The person who is the support worker is the one that's being assessed. Okay. So that's rule 1 when it comes to role plays. Do not read off a script. Rule 2, make sure you complete the time frame. So like I said, 6 to 10 minutes is the safe spot. Okay. If it goes 10 to 12, 14 minutes, perfect. That means you killed it. But I'm happy with 6 to 10. Then I can comfortably say that you have met all capabilities of the role play. Now, you're not going to meet every single capability. You're going to miss some points in the role play. Again, completely fine. No one is perfect. I don't expect that you're going to meet every single point. But as long as you go 6 to 10 minutes and you address the main areas and display them skills that I want to see, then you'll be fine. Third rule is introduction. Before you start the role play, it's got to be recorded. You have to introduce yourself, your full name. So, for example, my name is Cheyenne Bedogdu. I'm here to complete unit CHCCCS019, recognize and respond to crisis situation task 4. I'll be playing the role as a support worker, and I'll be responding to the crisis situation with Coleman Newman. And then you'll start your role play. Oh, sorry, before you start, then you've got to display some identification as well, just so we know that the person completing the role play is the person that's enrolled to the course, which we've had issues in the past before. All right, so they're the 3 main rules when it comes to role plays. Now, next week, what I do with all role play sessions is I will play the role of the client, and I'll have one of the students playing the role of the support worker. And that way, that will provide you guys a bit of a guide on how to complete role plays as well. Generally, I'll have the learners who have just started their journey with us stay with me in the main group, and I'll help you guys out with the role plays. But the seasoned veterans and the ones who are comfortable and are quite confident with role plays, I'll place them in breakout groups, and sometimes I pair them up with new learners as well, so they can help them out as well. And they will have to record their role plays in the breakout groups and then submit that later on. But again, I'll go through all that next week, the recording aspect of role plays next week. So don't stress out about that. Just make sure next week when you're doing if you are going to do your role plays, that you have a computer, because you can't record through a phone or a iPad, I'm pretty sure. So please make sure you're on a laptop or computer. All right. Any questions about this role play so far?
So are we like writing this down and then recording it? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, you can read. Yeah, read as much as you can about it. So familiarize yourself with the scenario,
Yeah.
and then this part here, during the role play, your assessor will be looking to see that you demonstrate the following. Now, again, I don't expect you to meet every single point in that time frame, but as long as you do majority of them, like the important ones, like identify and respond to the crisis, observe, and then show some initiative that you're actually trying to deal with the situation, you're taking the steps to deal with the crisis, and then you'll be fine. All right. Also, there's role play instructions here that I need you guys to read as well, and also familiarize yourselves with it. And this will give you a good understanding of how the role plays will go.
Do you find that in the resources or something?
Yeah. So when you go into the assessment, these will all be available for you.
All right. Thank you.
So when you go to assess the unit CHCCS019 from your end and go into task 4, all this will be there.
All right. Thank you.
That's all right. Michelle.
I was just going to ask, can I stay in your group for next week? And then I think I'm ready to fly solo after that.
Yeah.
Ta.
All good. All right. So that's part A. And also part of this part of the assessment, part A, you need to complete the role play, plus you need to complete the injury, trauma, illness record. The incident has a report, I'm pretty sure, of any injuries to anyone involved in the situation. Now, I think in this instance, a bystander client is injured. So I'm assuming I'll let you guys read up on the instructions. I'm assuming it will be for that person. I think they got bruising right shoulder. So there's no injuries to Coleman here. There's injuries to, I think, Hamid. Yeah. Okay. So 2 tasks for that role play. And then we have some questions. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 questions to answer about the role play. Okay. Now, part B is the second scenario. Now, this is so this is the same meeting you're having with Coleman, but I need these role plays in two separate recordings. Okay. Don't do one continuous recording for this because you'll be asked to do it again. So part A is the initial part, the part of the assessment where you meet Coleman, where he is heightened, a lot of anxiety, anger, and that role play is about how you settle him down and get him to a point where he is settled and he's willing to talk. Now, this is where we are now. Part B, he's settled. You've managed to de-escalate the situation. Now he's in baseline, and now we want to continue on with our session with him. All right. So the immediate crisis has passed, and you're now supporting him to develop a practical and meaningful crisis support plan. So Coleman has experienced a significant crisis just before. He was emotionally dysregulated under the influence of alcohol and has an outburst in the reception area. Now that situation has now been safely de-escalated by you. Some time has passed and Coleman is now calm, sober, and open to discuss his situation, and he's agreed to work with you to reflect on what happened, talk about his needs, and most importantly, develop a crisis support plan. Now, this will be done, obviously, in that room, in a private room, obviously, no one around, not in the reception area. The environment should be safe, respectful, and supportive, which I will assume that is what you organized for him. So what you need to do during the role play is obviously work with Coleman to explore what supports he needs and what services could benefit him. So important that you use empowering communication. So this is about building rapport and trust. Use supportive and non-judgmental language. Even though he's presenting all these challenges and all these issues with his family and wife, we've got to find something positive out of the situation. So for example, it's it's very good that you're here and you're open to talk through these issues. You've shown a lot of strength and bravery already today by coming here. So things like that, we've got to find something positive in them bad situations as well, so we can build up his confidence and motivation. I want to see you guys discuss informal support systems. So ask about people that he trusts, that he gets along with. I think there'll be some things there in the instructions about family and friends that he's close with as well. I think there's a mention about a sister from what I read. So that's part one and part two of a bit of a guide on how this role play should go. And then the next section will be about exploring the formal support options. So provide simple and clear information on things like counseling or therapy, AOD counseling or support services, marriage or family counseling might be an option, and emergency and after hours support lines as part of the support plan. Of course, we are not dictating terms. We are working in collaboration with Coleman in coming up with these strategies and goals and referrals. He's got to make the final decision, okay? Which will be another very important element that we are looking at during the role play. Very important that we talk through the barriers as well. So we've got to explore why he might avoid or resist support. There might be some stigma, his pride, and some past traumas that we might need to get into a little bit. Address concerns with understanding, and it's important that we don't pressure him as well. Again, it's important that we develop the intervention plan with Coleman. We're working together with him. We're discussing strategies for what he will do when he feels out of control, healthy distractions during them times, and managing them triggers that he has. And then obviously try to respond to Coleman's questions the best you can. He'll bring up some stuff as part of the instructions, roleplay instructions. And I believe there's a second part, yes. Then you of course have to complete the crisis intervention plan for Coleman as part of this roleplay. So part B comes with two parts as well, the roleplay recording and the crisis intervention plan for Coleman. Okay? So does anyone want to volunteer on doing this role play with me next week? The first one. Dashika. All right. Sam was too slow. All right. Sorry, Anita, did you have a question?
Oh, I did. You said that we should be ready to do this. Are you just doing Dashika, or are the rest of us going to be able to have a go as well? or-
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So Dashika and me will do the first role play, and you guys will watch it,
Yep.
and then just get a bit of a feel on how they're done and what's
Mhm.
expected in the role play, and then I will pair you up with one of the students who have been doing this for a bit and will assist you during the role play
Okay, great.
in the breakout groups, or I might keep you back with me and you do the role play with me. But yeah,
Fantastic. So we'll do part A and part B next week. Be ready
yeah,
to do both. Awesome. Right,
yeah,
excellent. Thank you.
yeah. Awesome, that's fine. Okay, and then for week 3, we'll cover the other 2 role plays. So last week I adjusted the role play assessments. And I did like question answer with you guys, and we've done a bit of a session around them to that last role play, which I might do, but I might not. I might also do the role plays as well. So I'm going to leave that open. Reason why is I want you guys to prepare for them role plays as if you will be doing them, because I did notice last week that some of you did not prepare and were just giving me general answers for certain questions that I had, which is not it's not going to be enough to pass the assessments when I do adjustments. So I want you guys to prepare for week 3 for assessment 2 and 3 as if you will be doing the role plays for real. Okay? So assessment 2 and 3 is for week 3. But next week, again, next Wednesday, we are covering task 4. Okay? Part A and Part B, task 4. So please, next week, when we start role plays, don't tell me you've prepared for task 2 and 3, because we're doing task 4. Okay? All right. Dashika, did you have a question? No. Daniel.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just a bit lost here in terms of which part is which. Are we meant to be looking at in terms of which part is part 4? Is that in the Ada Institute course listing?
Yeah, so if you try to locate unit CHCCCCS019, recognize and respond to crisis situations. If you go in there, there will be task 4.
I've got 2, 3, and 5.
You don't have 4.
No,
What year did you enroll? Did you recently enroll, or
yeah, just recently, like 6 weeks ago.
So you've got task 1, 2, 3, and 5.
I've got 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and 5 out of 5.
All right, you'll need to contact LSO
Okay.
and tell them that you don't have task 4.
Okay.
of the role play, and you need it ASAP, and they'll do it straight away. It's just a click of a button for them, and
Okay.
they'll put it on, and you'll probably see very similar for what I got on my screen.
Okay.
All right, so you got the overview of the assessment. Part A is the first role play.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
It's got the role play instructions there. And then part B is a second role play. And it's got the instructions there also. And then in between are 4 questions. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 are questions that you'll answer for the first role play. All right. Daniel, if LSO don't get back to you tomorrow, please email me and I'll make sure they get it open tomorrow for you.
Okay, we'll do. Cheers.
All right. And if you're having trouble in navigating the platform, reach out to me and I'll organize a time and then we'll go through it together. All right. Mickey.
Sorry, because I was eating, so I missed some parts. So basically, next week we will be doing the role play for the part A and part B. So it'll be like 2 role plays in a row, isn't it?
Yeah. Which task are we doing next week, Mickey?
The task to 4 out of 4, right? The 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one more thing that is in regards to the last week, I already received the feedback email from you. So does it mean that we don't really necessarily need to do the role play for that session? We just need to complete the form and upload your feedback.
Yeah, so the assessment feedback that I provided you
Yeah.
is just for the role play aspect.
Yeah.
So that goes down as your recording.
Oh, okay.
Like I've said previously, the other documentation is a must. You still have to complete the documentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, the assessment feedback that I provided you is essentially the role play recording.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So do I still need to do the role play though?
No.
Okay, because I did one with Sam. So I got a one outstanding, which is for Jen, the
So
second.
that one I didn't mark. That one you have to complete. The one I provided you
Yeah.
last week, it says the task number on it. It's for that task, whichever task it was.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Got
I
it.
think you still need to complete the first role play with Sam.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
if you like, I can give you time next week if you got time with Sam. You might need to repay you the favor and complete that last part.
Yeah, if Sam is available, otherwise probably I can find some other time to complete it as well. Maybe with Amberly, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, it should be right. I think.
Yeah.
One
Sure.
time.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, guys. So I'll go through assessment 2 and 3 next week after we complete our role plays. Again, just for the new guys, there is no pressure for you to do role plays next week. It's just an opportunity for you guys to do it during class, so you don't have to stress in finding people to help you out with role plays outside of class. All right, and once you perform, the first 2 role plays, it feels very easy afterwards. Believe me, I've had students who stressed out for a week, anxieties and fears and all that sort of stuff, which is completely normal. But please don't. You don't need to stress. It's very, very easy. It's just imagine you're trying to have a discussion with someone and you're trying to help them or support them in what they're going through. Really, that's all it is. All right, just try to imagine yourself in a real life situation, and then it's very once you start the role play, the first minute or so is very nerve wracking when you first start, but once you get into it, it's very easy. And a lot of people actually start enjoying the role plays as well. And I believe a lot of your learning and a lot of the skills that you will gain in this qualification are done during your role plays. You will learn a lot about yourself, and you will also realize that you've had skills and knowledge and experience that you actually didn't know that you had previously. All right. So yeah, don't be afraid of these role plays. Just see it as a learning resource and just a way of you guys developing better, new skills. All right. All right. I'm gonna end the session here. I'll stop the recording. I'll hang back for about 5 minutes, and I'll answer any other questions then. All right. So thank you for everyone for joining in, and I'll see you guys next week.